There you go. Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another episode at the Cusp of Freedom, where we'll talk about why and how we become who we are and give our life perspective and philosophy so that you can take it with you in your life to see yourself in one of our shoes and hopefully be better than us one day. Without further ado, I have two very special friends of mine on this podcast. I'll let them introduce themselves in a second. And I hope that you can be able to see yourselves in one of their shoes. And when you listen to their story, I hope that I can ask the right questions so that you can see them yourselves, in their shoes. Without further ado.
Hi, I'm Dhruvina Patel. I'm 23 from Austin, Texas. I'm here traveling in Colombia. I've been here for a month as a digital nomad working as a data analyst for a startup in Austin.
Cool, yeah, somewhat similar. Also, raised in Texas, just moved to Chicago, so I've been there for a year now, but also a digital nomad, kind of working in tech consulting, and been in Medellin for about a month now, and it's been incredible. I did a month in Peru back in May, and I kind of got hooked with traveling and working at the same time since then, so.
Oh, nice. Can you guys, I guess we can start with you. Can you take us down the road of how you became a data analyst? Like, did you go to college? Did you do a boot camp? How was that?
So I actually entered college when I was 16 or 7. I just turned 17. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I went in as a pre-dental major. Ended up not liking that. Tried to switch to engineering. Didn't work out. Ended up graduating in mathematics. Had no idea what I was going to do with that because I graduated in the middle of the pandemic. And so it was really tough. Didn't have a job for about 6-7 months, figuring out who I was. I moved back home. I eventually reached back out to a company the startup I work at now, who I used to intern for when I was around 19. And they said, we can take you back on as an intern. 1 month into that, got pulled in as an analytics coordinator as full-time. And so ever since then, my role has kind of changed within there. It's a startup, definitely wear a lot of different hats.
Nice.
So kind of my data analytical role is like mixed into a whole bunch of different sectors. It's trend analytics, business analytics, research, product management. It's a lot. So not the typical data analytical role, but I love it because it gives me the freedom to choose what I want to do and what I enjoy. And I'm not being constantly told what to do by a higher up. I'm the only person in my role. Okay. So I love the flexibility in that, and that definitely portrays into how I live my life as well.
Nice. And feel free to ask questions too. But okay, so in your role, do you feel like the love for mathematics, and you said you went to college with a mathematics major, right? So did you have like a strong intuition to love problem solving as a kid? Like what was your personality traits that led you to go down like pursuing mathematics? I know most people like would run away from that.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely the problem solving for me. It's finding a solution, finding something that works, finding it why it works. When I did switch my major to mathematics, it was a lot of proof writing. Definitely not what I was used to as a biology major switching into mathematics.
Okay.
Different kind of mindset. I feel like I didn't go to college to necessarily gain what is mathematics, but I trained my brain how to think.
Okay.
Which I think a lot of people don't think about. I don't go back to college and say I got this degree and I know X, Y, and Z. I think I went to college and I learned this certain part of me that was so different from putting myself into situations like this didn't work out, so what can I go solve? I didn't get into, when I tried switching into engineering, I didn't get in, so what can I do? Do I drop out? Do I go switch to another school? Do I pick another major? And so I picked another major, stuck it through, graduated, didn't know what I was going to do with that. Do I go into starting my own business? My family owns their own hotel business, so I could have gone into that, could have picked up little small things from there, or I could go start working for a company, a big company, small company, like what do I fit into? But it was also the struggle of what's available right now, especially during the pandemic. It was really tough figuring out I have all these skills. Who's going to recognize it?
Okay.
Kind of thing.
So you went to college not really knowing what you were going to do
Exactly.
out after college,
Yeah.
but like you were going to figure it out along the way, basically.
Yeah. I feel like I've always had that mindset.
Interesting.
I know a lot of my friends would challenge me. They're like, what are you going to do in the future? Like, what are you going to do after? They always had 3 steps planned ahead. For me, it was, what's going to be the next thing after this? I'll plan maybe one step ahead, but not
too many steps.
4, 5, 6.
We don't have the 5-year plan.
Exactly. I don't have a checklist.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Having
More than okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot, like my sister, like she's super smart. She went to school for, like she's in her residency program right now. She did a checklist to become that doctor. For me, it was never a checklist. I never wanted to be, okay, gotta check this off. And I think that's definitely gone into how I live my life.
Interesting.
I think some people thrive with the structure.
Yeah.
And then other people, like we try with the structure, it ends up like we're kind of forcing ourselves against a tide. And we learn to surrender, and that ends up working for our life plan a lot more than just step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So find what's best for you, or what works for you.
Yeah.
So how about you? Did you go the college route?
Yes, I did. I went to college, but my college journey was a little like, I guess not like everyone else's. I did 5 years instead of 4, so I did a super senior year.
Super senior year. I've never heard of
I
that.
think that's what's called,
Yeah,
super
it's called,
senior
yeah.
year. But for me, it was like I went in and picked the major that everyone else did in business school. I'm like, okay, this is what's going to make you successful, which was finance.
So you
Like,
you went to college to seek successful in money, not really because you had a passion for business.
I didn't have a passion for business. No,
Okay.
I was
You had a passion for money though.
not even a passion for money. I think that's how I was kind of programmed growing up. With my parents are like immigrants, they're from India, and I think I've always had a lack mentality around money because
Okay.
we've always struggled with money. We
I
didn't
see.
grow up super well off, so it's always like, if you can get your hands on some money, hold on to it, because you'll never really have enough. It was always like a lack mentality.
Like a limited mindset with regards to
Limited
money.
mindset, yeah. So to them, the most secure thing you can do is make sure you have a secure job, make sure you have financial security, you have money coming in from somewhere. So that's kind of what I went into college with, the mindset. I need to secure a job. I need
Nice.
to do something that's like guaranteed. Step 1, step 2, step 3, you get the job, you get the salary.
And you figure the rest after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the mindset I went in with, but it didn't make me happy. Like I struggled a lot. I didn't like the major at all. It just wasn't me.
But you went through with it. Did you take like student loans? Is that why you went through with it, or?
That too. It was like, you're paying a lot. I was shouldering a lot of it with like the student loans and just working a couple jobs at the same time during my undergrad. So it felt like, I'm putting in all this work and effort and energy, like I have to make this work.
Hell yeah.
Like it's either this or what else. I don't have a safety net necessarily because my parents aren't super well off.
Yeah.
So I need to do something. I need to help the family as well. So yeah, I didn't really go through with finance. It was just so bad. I have to change my major.
So you switched.
Yeah, I switched
Okay.
my major.
What'd you switch to?
It sounds so random, but I actually did like a study abroad. It was a 1 month abroad in Greece, which I guess is where my travel bug started.
Okay.
And it was finance abroad. I learned 2 things. I hate finance,
You love traveling.
but I love living somewhere. I love like getting to know locals. It's the culture. Like everything is my favorite thing in the world. Yeah, dang. But then I came back. I'm like, one thing I did like about that trip, what I learned through my class is we went and visited like a shipping dock. We're supposed to learn the finances behind the company, but I'm like, wow, it's so cool how you get things from like one place to another.
Yeah.
And
The logistics or?
logistics, yeah. So I was like, there has to be a major or something like that, and it was supply chain. So I was like, let me change to that. And I think that was the best decision I could have made because I don't know. I think the universe sends you affirmations with what you're doing through people, through moments that make you feel good. Like I connected so much more with my professors. I made great relationships. The major itself was a lot smaller, so I got to know people a lot better, closer bonds, and I liked the work. Like it was interesting, the problems we were solving.
Interesting. Would you accredit your switch to the 1 year or 1 month abroad in Greece that made you realize that you hate your major and that you just love to travel? Would you say that's
Yeah.
like the moment where you decided I need to switch?
Pivotal moment. Yeah,
Pivotal
that was
moment.
one of those. Yeah, like it made me really realize and reevaluate my life. Like, what is it that brings me joy and what doesn't?
So I have a question. So without that, would you think you would have still switched if you would have stayed in the United States? Like, would you have been contented with not feeling contented at your job if you hadn't traveled? Like, if you had stayed in the United States, would you have felt like, okay, I don't really like this, but I'm just gonna go through with it because it's what everybody else does? Or has traveling changed your perspective to like, okay, I love traveling, but I hate this thing. I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone and try something new, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, did traveling give you that space to think that way? That perspective?
Yeah, I think if I had stayed in the U.S., it still would have ended up changing my major.
Okay.
The misery, that did not change.
Okay.
I was like, there has to be another way. The traveling was just like one of those gifts that the universe sends you, like a bonus, like, hey, you might be into this. Like, it just kind of accelerated the growth in a way.
Accelerated your growth. Nice.
I definitely would explain traveling like that. It's a catalyst.
It's a catalyst.
Yeah. It moves, like your mentality just changes so fast in such little time.
Interesting.
Just like these month trips that we've been doing. So I did one. She did Peru in May.
Back in May, yeah.
I did Guatemala last year in July, and it was right after. It was the first travel trip I took after the pandemic.
Yeah.
After I got my job, and it changed my whole mindset. I was living at home.
Were you traveling alone?
No, I was in the same group. Similar concept that we travel in. Yeah, so we met a group of strangers through this travel company, travel with them, and then stay in the same hostel, all work remotely.
There you go, guys. If you're scared to travel alone, you can travel with friends that you meet online.
Yeah.
All right.
None of us knew each other going in. It was great. We all became close friends.
Yeah, close friends. And then, so did that month away. As soon as the last day hit, I was like, I'm moving out. I'm gonna, at first it was the whole, I'm staying at home, I'm saving money, I can travel while living at home. But I knew my mental health was not the best living at home. And so literally last day I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for a new roommate in Austin.
Oh, wow.
Found the perfect roommate, best roommate of my life. The universe will send you things that you did not expect, and the most unexpected packages. So right after that I moved out of my parents' hotel, and I literally was in Austin. Have been in Austin ever since. So it's been like a year. And then ever since that, been traveling and working remotely because I understand that I can have the best of both worlds. I can work and be career oriented. I can work on myself.
Yep.
Love to, give myself the self-love that I deserve, the health, and then also travel and expand my mind and grow in so many different aspects.
Yep.
And I think it's just become my personality now.
Nice. I don't know. Why do you guys think? I guess before we dive deeper into how someone can become like you guys, why do you think most Americans don't have passport? What do you think? Do you think it's just the perspective that they lack, or do you feel like it's more of the environment they're in, the education that they get?
I think it's the environment. I think it's definitely so because we're both immigrant. We come from immigrant families.
We're all immigrants. So.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think that's definitely a big aspect of it because most people I have met, they're from immigrant backgrounds that like to travel. So for me, it's my dad used to travel a lot when he was younger. He had that United Pass where you could just a punch card and travel.
Oh, wow.
And so he always instilled in me and my sister. My sister's more of a homebody, but for me, it's I'm always seeking discomfort.
Nice. I like that. You're always challenging yourself.
Yeah, always challenging yourself. And I feel like that's
that's the
how
growth
you
mindset.
grow.
You start training
that's
yourself
the growth.
to seek it. You're actively how can I get out of my comfort zone?
Exactly.
Yo, that's exactly what we need on this podcast.
Yeah, and it's so true though. It's once because we were just talking about this earlier. We're both homebodies, but when I find myself being nah, I don't need to do that. I'm no, you want to do that. Go do it. You're just going back into your little shell. But when you're gonna get the most growth reaching out and actually doing the things that you never expected yourself to do.
Interesting. So you think the only thing holding us back is ourselves?
I think one of the things. I mean, there's definitely different means. There's financial means. There's job structure. There's
things that you can't
control.
Can't control.
Yeah. for sure. But the things that you can control, like your mentality, your mindset, how you look at things, perspective, yeah. And I think that's so important. So it's like controlling the things you can, and don't focus on the things that don't really like beat yourself up about the things you can't control.
Interesting. So is that like your life philosophy? What's your life philosophy? Like what?
I think at this point, yeah, it's like a long. You can go.
How about you? What's like a motto you live by? I guess like how do you perceive the world in one sentence? Like
I guess life philosophy, like maybe how I make decisions. Are you coming from a place of fear, or are you coming from a place of love? Like when I try to make a decision, I'm like, am I scared? Am I letting self-limiting beliefs hold me back? Or
wow, I never heard this one.
I don't know. Like I guess I've never really thought about how I approach things, but I guess I've started to think in terms of, am I holding myself back? Yeah. Do I have a self-limiting belief here to where I believe like I can't do this thing because of some social programming I had when I grew up that I haven't worked my way through? Or am I coming from a place of love? That brings me joy. I want to do that because I care about myself, because it's going to make me happy, because it's just going to bring me a lot of joy. I think thinking about those two things will help me move forward with whether I want to do something or not.
Interesting. That's a good perspective. Why do you think doing something out of, how do you call it, the limiting belief part of things, right? I mean, I feel like that's a major part of why people don't actually have the perspective necessary to even get a passport. Yeah. I mean, mainly Americans, but in general, I think depending on the environment and like how your parents raised you, you might think like, oh, I might not be good enough to have all these things. Like you have a self-limiting belief based on like the environment that you're born in. So how do you grow out of that self-limiting belief and understand that you can have a mindset of abundance and actually get whatever it is that you can dream of or imagine in life? Like how do you get out of that narrow mindset?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Yeah. I think everybody needs to know that you need to do some inner child healing. You need to do some shadow work. You need to go back and go, meditate. I have like these guided meditations that I do that take me back into childhood memories where I first developed a self-limiting belief, like, oh, you can't do this thing because you're just, maybe it's the color of your skin, maybe it's like you don't have as much money, or you don't have the educational background, or you don't come from a place where you can do these things. Like it could be several reasons, but I guess it depends.
But it comes back to the shadow work, because most of what you're dealing with stems from like your parents, I guess, or how you were raised.
How you were raised too. Like my parents had a severe lack mentality, and they always taught us to fear, to like hold on to your things, to just
not take risks, basically.
Don't take risks. Yeah, they were very risk averse. Like so I think growing up, that's how I kind of was. Like when I first.
So the way that you grew out of that mentality is by doing shadow work, by meditating, and by just working on your inner child self.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
I started my shadow work, inner child work in college. I think that's when most people kind of start self-reflecting a little bit, like in their 20s in the beginning. But it was really rough. Like I had so many things holding me back. I had to go back and figure out like which memory caused this and go heal myself.
Interesting.
And go reframe that memory. I think what helps is like kind of like in your mind sending yourself back to your childhood version and kind of giving them a hug. It feels like that, like protecting your inner child.
Interesting.
And telling them, it's okay. Like things are going to be okay.
Interesting. That sounds like a lot of self-love. I think that's something we need a lot more in this world. A lot of people don't know how to heal though, and a lot of people don't know how to give themselves love or more love. What advice would you give someone that needs, to do inner child work, to, learn to love themselves more? What advice would you give them to take it like a habit? Because I know it takes time, right? It has to take time.
Yeah, it takes.
So what advice would you give them to, implement in their daily habits so that they can start to do the work to heal themselves and face whatever it is that they're keeping deep inside?
There's so many things. I think the thing that's worked for me the most is journaling. I think we were talking about this yesterday, but journaling is so important. Meditating, maybe like even for 10 minutes just to process your thoughts, and then journaling let me backtrack. I suggest keeping a notepad of triggers. Things that trigger you day to day, they trigger you for a reason. And if you have those 10 minutes, just think about a specific trigger and then journal.
That's interesting.
Why that situation made you feel that way. You give language to your emotions. Like
Yeah.
I feel like all of us, majority of us, are emotionally illiterate. We don't know
Yeah.
how to make our feelings make sense. And
Yeah.
when you're writing it down, you're giving literacy to your
Man,
emotions.
that is so deep.
Yeah, I like that. It makes you understand yourself, and when you
Yeah.
understand yourself, you can understand other people. You're able to empathize more, and we're more connected than ever, and it makes the world an entirely better place. So you have to start with healing yourself.
Oh wow. Have you
so true.
have you gone through healing at all?
We were talking about this also yesterday. I didn't do a specific thing. I think for me it was just figuring out my own emotions. I wouldn't even put a technical name on it. Just like growing up and going through some hardships through family and everything, it's always been reflective of how am I feeling and how are those I care about feeling. Like, for example, my sister and my brother. They became like my support system. So it was like a three-legged chair. It's like if one of us is down, how can we support that leg up
Yeah.
to keep it standing? Because
Nice.
we're the only thing keeping each other up right now.
Nice. So you would say it's definitely it was beneficial for you to have some kind of support
And then,
throughout your challenges.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, it's always having that my sister or my brother there, super close with them. I know that they were going through the same struggle as me, so it's like nice to know that okay, you guys are feeling exactly what I'm feeling. And then whenever I came to terms of like this is how I'm feeling, I would say, "Are you feeling like this too?" And then they would kind of reflect back on how they're feeling, and we'd be like, "Okay, this is like vibrating off each other." And I think for me personally was like really checking in with myself, like journaling. I'm shameful to say this, but I've never gone to see a therapist.
Why are you shameful to say it?
Because I know I need one, and I've always put a therapist in front of my brother and sister before myself. So the whole, you should put your mask on first, and I
Yeah.
preach it too. Like, take care of yourself first before you take care of others. But it's the complete opposite when it comes to me. I feel like I find myself being very selfless, and I know that's why I check in with myself. I'm like, I know I'm being selfless, but I'm still taking care of myself to some extent to reflect how I feel and understand how I feel and what I'm going through, what I'm doing in life, like where I'm at in the moment. I find myself throughout the day being like, look at where you're at. Look how far you've come. Look where you can go, and be hopeful, be grateful, but also remember that things have happened to you, and like that you can make it through anything moving forward.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. Yeah, that's actually really deep. So going back to when you guys were in college, I mean, something that I learned after college that I wish I knew before college, for example, was like student loans and how to pay them off like after college. What advice would you give to someone going into college to pursue the majors that you guys did to become who you are, with regards to, like what would you do better if you could go back before college?
This is a loaded question. I would tell myself, don't go to college.
Oh wow, okay, let's elaborate on this.
Because I genuinely think that everything I know now, and the career I'm doing, I think it's all coming from training myself to think a certain way. And like I said, like my major, it just helped me think a certain way. And college has helped me grow into a person, but I feel like I could have gotten that throughout life experiences. Through traveling, I could have spent that money on traveling, or I could have
Wow.
I could have opened up my eyes a lot faster. I was just told, go do this. And I said, okay, dad, okay, mom, like, I'll make you happy. I was such a people pleaser at one point in my life.
Oh, wow.
And so it was like, I just want to make everyone happy because that's like how I thought.
That's because you're a good person, you're a genuine person. That's
I thought it would make myself happy, making everyone else happy. And so
because it is. I mean, it does, right?
it does. It really does. And I like my love language is acts of service. So I will go.
Wow,
And
I
that's
like that.
fulfilling.
Yeah,
That's fulfilling
it's
as
like
fuck.
the most fulfilling thing for me. And so I said, okay, I will do this for you, mom and dad. I'll go to college. I didn't even want to go. So I went to UT Austin. I didn't even want to go there. I wanted to stay at home. I wanted to go to local community college. My parents pushed me. They're like, go, leave, because they didn't like me. I was the loud, obnoxious child, the middle child. But
Sure,
so
okay.
they sent me away, and I said, okay, I'm gonna just live this life. It's not my life. It's not what I want. I'm there. I'm in college, and I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just taking these classes. I'm not getting good grades. Like, I'm just here. I feel like every day was just draining. I was surrounding myself with people that just were draining.
You weren't learning much?
I wasn't learning much. I wasn't growing. And as soon as I realized, which was like my sophomore year, I was in a very toxic roommate situation. I wanted to take a break from life. I went to go visit my family in the UK for 3 months. And then I realized I'm so much happier when I'm by myself and just doing my own thing. I did an internship in, at this point I was in between switching from biology to engineering. So I did an architectural internship in like central London, and I was going into the city every single day, and I was like, I'm so happy by myself. Like, I love being by myself. Like, I love just doing things, seeing things, walking around, taking charge, doing my own like initiative, like asking how can I help, what can I do in the office and like everything. And then I'd get home and I'd see my sister and be like, I love you, but I want to be by myself. Like, don't intrude on my space.
It's great when you can come to that place.
Yeah.
It's like having peace with yourself.
Are you the same way? Do you like being by yourself?
I think, yeah, when I love being by myself. Wasn't always the case. I always felt like I needed friends around me, people around me constantly. But I think when that's
Did you grow up with siblings?
Yeah, siblings are my best friends. And I think I've watched them grow so much too, to where they are more like comfortable just being by themselves. And I think we all kind of reach that point when you work on yourself enough.
Wow. So do you both think that when you work on yourself enough, you are able to sustain whatever adversity comes your way, but you're able to just like be your best self every day, no matter what challenges you face, you'll be able to find a way through?
100%.
Interesting.
You know yourself. You know how you're going to approach something. You know what makes you feel bad. You know what makes you, how you're going to get back to balance. What's going to make you feel better. And I don't know. I think when you know yourself that well, you know what you need to do to show up as your best self to the world.
Wow.
To show up as your best self to your family, to your friends, to your coworkers. So
to
important.
strangers, to people that like you just see on the street.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's a butterfly effect. Like how you treat yourself. It just manifests into
on
your
how
reality.
you treat everybody else.
Exactly.
Wow, you guys are, man. I can't even add anything else. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about traveling. You guys are digital nomads. What would you say are your biggest challenges, whether it's like backpacking or long-term digital nomadsy, where you're going city to city, whether it's 2 weeks or every month? What would you say is your biggest challenges, and what would you say is the biggest benefit? Even though we've said a little bit about the benefits already, but what would you say is your biggest challenges, whether it's backpacking, short-term or long-term?
Challenges and benefits. I feel like the pros outweigh the cons in this
Yeah.
entire.
it's like no matter like how many I know like the human tendency is to always focus on the negatives, right?
Yeah.
You just have to outshine that with the positives. Like
True.
We did Rosebud Thorn one weekend when we were in Cartagena, and like I was like, yeah, like we went on a boat in the middle of the freaking storm. It was raining on us. Like we were hunkered down on that boat.
Yo.
But the end of the day, we went on a beautiful little private beach. We spent so much time together. We were having fresh coconut water, and like I was like, we're miserable right now, but give us food and we'll be happy. Like
Bonded a lot, and
Yeah.
also the video content that came out of that day, hilarious. The best
like-
memories.
I think it's just like outshining. Like no matter what you go through, like you're gonna be out of your comfort zone. You're gonna go back to balance. Like you know, like you said, you know exactly what you need, and you're gonna give it to yourself, and you're gonna feel like you're having the time of your life.
Yeah, better you know yourself, the quicker you're able to come back
Exactly.
to that balance too. It's not going to take you a week or like a month to come back to this like this state, your happy state. You know,
Yeah.
it
No.
can take you way less time.
Exactly. Like we bounced back
Half a day, that's fine.
Literally. We're fine. We're great. Don't
But
mind us.
we embraced the misery of it too.
Yeah, we embrace the suck, right? That's what
suck.
is the suck. Like, and I think, I don't know, like I think from that, it's like if you know, you can even make it through the small things, the little things that like tick you off. Like you can make it through anything. Like
I also think maybe it's the same as like if you can find joy and celebrate the victories of the small moments, you can hold capacity for the big moments too. So you gotta appreciate every little moment
present
of life, everything, so that when those big moments come around, you're able to feel it and fully be present and live in it. And it's not just this like short-lived high.
Interesting. I like your perspectives, guys, on not being afraid to go through the suck.
Yeah.
And do you think like the more suck you go through, the more your brain adapts to going through like hard situations, and the easier you're able to maneuver through these hard situations?
100%.
Yeah, I think when you're wiring yourself to see the best in every situation.
Interesting. And you're challenging yourself.
Yeah, so you're always going to be growing. It's like having a growth mindset, I guess. Embrace the suck, see the lesson you can learn through it, or how you can kind of get back to that positive state.
Okay, so guys, what would you say to a 14-year-old who doesn't really understand the effect that their parents have on them, and you know they're looking to know what they want to become in the future? What would you say to them to help them understand that, you know, there's gonna come a time where they're gonna have to do the work? Because I think we all go through like some kind of thing when we're younger. So what would you say to them to let them know that they'll have to do the work to love themselves more, and how they should approach the adversity that comes their way in the future?
Find a silver lining.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a really tough childhood, and the parts that got me through was finding those things that brought me joy, whether it was like cello, whether it was basketball, or reading, anything that brought me joy, like follow it, pursue it, and let that kind of carry you. I think we're told that, you can never make something, you can never become a writer. What's the point of writing? You can never do this thing. Like, you need to do something more practical. That's kind of what school teaches you. Follow your joy. And that's as simple as read more books if you love reading, play more basketball, play more street basketball, you know. Just do more of what you like. No matter what situation you're in, it'll find you. The universe will help you find things that you love.
Interesting.
Just reach for it.
What if you're in a situation where it's hard for you to do the things you like because you're stuck in a situation where everything that you have to, or you think that you have to do, is kind of like, you know, for example, if you have a dead-end job and you have a kid at home and you have, I don't know, you're just in this real messed up situation, right? Where you might want to travel, you might love traveling, but you can't.
Right.
Reprioritize.
Prioritize.
No, but it's so true. It's like you have to just take a step back from your whole life, not in like okay, I'm gonna put travel above my kid kind of situation. It's like take a step back and say, all right, it's obviously traveling. It's financial cost, right? Start with that. Where is my money going on a monthly basis?
Interesting.
Start with the little
budgeting.
changes.
Yeah,
like
the little.
make one change. If you can change one thing, do that, and then start piling on the changes.
Nice.
And that ends up having a dramatic effect on your life. You end up transforming your life. Just the little changes
It's
day
like
to day.
stop, like having one less coffee a week to two less, like having coffee out. Like, you know what I mean? Like those small little changes from like financial to also that mindset to say, hey, I am like, I want to travel. I am a traveler. Like saying that I'm going to be a traveler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like having that active like brain change, it also like creates new habits, and like you're gonna then like transform transform
the
that
belief that it's gonna happen.
Exactly. Like.
So do you think belief has something to do with it? Like you being able to believe in yourself and being able to see where you're gonna be. Do you think that has something to do with it as well?
Having faith.
Yeah.
Having faith.
Having hope.
Interesting.
If you don't believe something's gonna happen for you, it's definitely not.
Manifest that shit.
If you
for
believe
real.
in it, like, I have faith, but I just don't know how I'm gonna get there. I think
that's a start.
That's all you need. You don't even know. You don't need to know how you're gonna get there.
Exactly.
You just need the faith and aligned action. Those two things. Aligned action is so hard because we think that it has to be something big. Like, okay, you want to start a podcast, you have to get all like the expensive things and materials together. But you know what? You can start with doing voice memos on your phone.
That's true.
It can be so small. It can be so tiny. You can just start having sessions with your friends. Like, aligned action does not have to be this insane move.
Wow.
Where, oh, I want
That's
to,
so deep.
you know, maybe I need to move to a different country to start this. No, you could do it anywhere. You could take aligned action anywhere, anyhow, big, small. And I think it took me a lot of time to realize that too, because I always thought you got to go big. You got to do something big.
It's like an all or nothing mentality, but it's really not.
I mean, have you guys always known this then? Or
No.
like, was there a point?
No.
Or has traveling opened your perspective to understanding all these things, all these wisdom you guys are spilling on this podcast?
I think for me, it was more like just who do you want to be? Like, who do you see yourself being tomorrow, in a month, a week from now, a month from now? If I was still in the whole situation with that toxic roommate situation, I stayed in Austin that summer for school, I would have been miserable. But instead, went to London, spent time with family, did an internship, and went to Barcelona and kind of traveled a bit, got out of my comfort zone, first of all, because I had, like, it was always just family trips before.
Yeah.
It was like, what do I want to do? It's like pushing yourself just inch by inch to, like, gain that traction.
When taking your first solo trip, was that different than like traveling for family or?
Yeah, it was. I think so for me, because I just was like, what do I do? I was always street smart, but putting that into play was
Real deal.
It's like, well, okay, I gotta take this subway or this this train to this spot. I can't get on
It kind of
this.
builds your confidence.
Yeah.
You're able to navigate.
And then you can own it. And then you're like walking through, and you're like, yeah, I know where that is. Okay,
That's true.
I don't know where that is, but I know how to get
there. I'll figure it out. And there's tools out there. Like, we have technology now, guys. Like Google Map, like map it out.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, traveling has definitely opened up like a lot of doors, and each time I do travel, I feel like I'm just stacking on to who I am. We came into this sweet message before we came on to this Colombia trip, and we're so hopeful, like it's gonna be so good, like we're gonna grow so much. And then we were just reflecting back, like earlier over coffee, we're like, I did not expect to grow this much.
We went into it with a growth mindset. We're like, I have a feeling we're gonna grow, and now we're having this like end of month conversation. Like, wow, I grew in this way, that way,
and it's not even like it's
more than we expected.
Yeah, and we even said like Mercury's in retrograde and we can't create new habits, but we added to our current habits. We were going to the gym in the morning. We were eating our healthy like lifestyle, like picking the foods that we love to eat, because we don't get that abundance in America. Like, we can't go out and have a great healthy meal in America without it like breaking our bank, right?
True.
And so we come here and it's like we're living our best life and we're manifesting it. We're gonna go back and take that, and we're gonna take these ideas that we like, all the new discoveries we found in each other and our collaboration as new friends, and like figuring out our own path. And it just only makes us more excited and have the bug again to go travel together or like separately and be like, what else am I going to learn out there in a different country or same country, different mindset or an expanded mindset.
Wow.
And it just stacks on. And it's like an itch for growth.
So constant growth is addictive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's why you get addicted to the going out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
You're like, shit, you grow in such beautiful ways, and that's the only way. You have to get out of your comfort zone. So it does become addicting.
It is addicting.
You're like, how can I push myself to do something, walk through fear and do something anyways, even if I'm scared?
Wow.
That's actually, I feel like, the most magnetic thing you do is if you're scared of something, go do that thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Overcome that fear.
You go. It's that quote. This might be wrong, but it's like, the treasure you seek is in the cave you fear, or something like that. But basically, walk through fear, and your world is gonna get like
Crazy.
magnified times 10 in the way that you want.
Wow.
It's more beautiful than you can conceive. Basically, you kind of give the universe like a big opening to like bring in so much abundance into your life when you do that.
Nice. Wow. So do you think, I guess going out of your comfort zone is one of the biggest things? I guess that's like the biggest takeaway I have from you guys. Like, just going out of your comfort zone, walking in fear, and having faith in yourself is basically how you got here.
Yeah. I think, especially from what I know of Neet's background and like what I can reflect, is that we've always been told we can't do stuff.
Yeah.
And
you took it with a grain of salt, or?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, okay, I can't do it, I'll go do it. Now I go do it. Before, when I was younger, I was like, okay, they don't want me to do it, I won't do it. But now I think that transition of traveling and being on my own and loving myself and caring for myself says, I don't, at the end of the day, I came into this world alone and I will leave alone. And so what the love and care I put into myself matters the most.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'll neglect everyone around me, but it's necessarily like, if I want to go see something, if I want to go experience something, why do I need to limit myself for someone else's impression?
True.
It's I feel like a lot of people, especially in America, are always worried about what other people are going to think. But at the end of the day, it's your mindset that really matters.
Because some people haven't dealt with haven't done the work, so they're telling you the things that they might think they can't do.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're a younger person listening, you have more opportunity than
And honestly, it takes exercising. It takes practicing. So I didn't believe I could do things that made me happy or I could pursue my desires for the longest time, and I had to start exercising my trust muscle with the universe, and I would start manifesting things that I could get within like a 2-month time frame or a 3-month time frame, 4 months, 6 months, just to prove to myself that I could get it.
You can manifest it.
Start with manifesting small things. That is gonna like build up your trust muscle with the universe, and then start going for bigger and bigger and bigger things. And I think that's kind of just how I've grown to a place where I'm like, yes, I want all these things, and I know I'm gonna get them. I don't care how crazy they sound.
You know, it's crazy. Like the most successful people I've met, you guys included, have all this like mentality that we live in a universe where you can have anything you can imagine, but you just have to have faith, and you have to walk in fear. You have to be
faith, aligned action.
Yeah, aligned action. I mean, those are like the normal common sense things. But I think the biggest thing is just believing that you can manifest shit, or you can you can envision your reality. You know, like I think that's the biggest thing I like.
Start
becoming
small,
that
prove to
person.
yourself.
Yeah, it's like the little habits. It's the little things. Like little steps become big strides.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone feels like they have to make these insane moves, they have to do big things when you start small. Yeah. Isn't it like big things have like small beginnings or something like that? I think it's everything. Anyone that's ever successful, you have a role model, someone, I guarantee you they started really small. And they did things that aligned actually. Like take an acting class, like take a singing course, like maybe just try writing a song or something, anything, you know?
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy.
Try something.
Follow your joy.
Besides sitting on the couch all day and drinking beer or go eat. Anyways.
Hey, there's nothing wrong. Not all day. You can do it a couple days. Yeah.
Anyway, it's been an immense pleasure. I really appreciate the perspective and philosophy shared on this podcast from both of you guys, and I hope somebody watching that's hoping to become a tech consultant or a data analyst one day can grasp not only like what they did to get there, but also like their philosophy and their perspective, so that you can be better than them one day. Is there any last word of advice you guys want to leave those watching here with today? Something that they can take with them and implement in their life, like any last,
I would say always stay true to you. Check in with yourself and follow through with your first or second instinct. Don't let other people influence your first thought or put you down, because at the end of the day, it's your love that comes first for yourself.
Yeah, I would say get to know yourself. Get to know yourself so much, so well, that everything in life becomes so intuitive. Like you just are so in touch with your intuition. You're so aligned that you know what's for you, you know what's not, and let that guide you through life.
It's been a pleasure to have you guys on this podcast. Hopefully in the future I might want to have you guys again, maybe. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us. This was so fun. I love this.
Oh, you can stop that. I have to unlock it. You can stop the video though.